older horse to follow. And Adam, you're up first with a Sir Michael Stout improver.
Yeah, I think with any horses to follow list, it might sound a bit of an obvious thing to say, but you're looking for horses that are going to be well placed to pick up and win races. And I think one of my favourite things to do when I'm looking for these horses to follow is try and spot a thin division perhaps, and a horse that can take advantage of that. And I think in Ville de Grace we've got a perfect example of that type of horse who'll be running in sort of in the spring anyway. She'll be running in middle distance races for older fillies. And I think if you look at the last year's 3-year-old fillies as a whole over middle distances, you had Snowfall, who was head and shoulders above the rest. Sadly, she's no longer with us, and I think the rest were much of a muchness. In the shape of Ville de Grace, you've got a filly who was really coming into her own at the back end of the year. She won the Pride Stakes, I think it was, at Newmarket on a final start in the manner of a really progressive filly. She travelled smoothly into it and put the race to bed and won quite cosily again. I think there's an obvious programme for her this spring, looking at races like the Dahlia Stakes at Newmarket, the Middleton at York. They're both races that her trainer, Sir Michael Stout, has made hay in over the years. I think he's won one of them 6 times and the other 7, and he's the leading trainer in both races. So it's a well-trodden path for him. And in the shape of Ville de Grace, I think he's the perfect candidate to go for those races with this year.
Fascinating. Now, Ben, you took 2 days off this week to prepare for this video. What older horse did you come up with during that work time?
You stitch me up, don't you, Dave, every single time. Do you know what I thought? I thought we're doing a horses to follow video. 95% of it is going to be dark horses. Let's have a little 5% segment where we look forward to what could be the flag bearer of the flat season. And that's what we're going to talk about now with Baid, who was sensational last season as a 3-year-old, only turned out in June at Leicester, ended up finishing his campaign with a couple of Group 1 wins, one in France and one of course, in what was a really deep renewal of the QE2 at Ascot. I mean, you just go through that race and the horses he beat. He had Palace Pier in second, another Group 1 winner in Lady Bowthorpe in third, a previous winner in the Revenant in fourth, Mother Earth, a classic winner. Alcohol-free Ben Battle and Lord Glitters, all top-level winners, 8th, 9th and 10th. A really deep renewal of the QE2. Fascinated to see what he does this season. He starts out in the Lock-Ins, you'll go to the Queen Anne at Royal Ascot. But what we're really looking forward to with this Son of Sea the Stars, full brother to Hookham, is if he goes up in Trip to 10, if he turns up in the Eclipse or the Juddmonte International. Really excited to see what he can do. So yeah, okay, he's not a dark one, Dave. We've got loads of them. But he's one to look forward to in 2022.
He's one who's hit that time for magical 130 number already, which makes him very exciting. I do agree. I think it'd be fascinating to see what he can do over 10 furlongs, and a really interesting stallion prospect for the Shadwell team as well at the end of this season. David, I'm not accusing you of recency bias, but your older horse to follow we saw in action at the weekend.
Yeah, not recency bias. Maybe laziness. No,
laziness. That was the other word.
I don't know. No, in all seriousness, I thought I'd put this one in because it is cheating a little bit in that obviously when we do write horses to follow, we're having to go on last year's evidence, whereas this is one that gave us a sneak peek, and he ran a real good race in the Lincoln, didn't he? Obviously, it was Johan that won it. Silem finished second. They were drawn low and they raced prominently, whereas at Rogue Bear he came from off the pace. He was drawn in stall 19, finished really well to suggest that he does look like he's on a pretty good handicap mark for when things drop more his way. I'd like to think he's got a decent mile handicap in him, and perhaps it could be the Spring Cup at the Newbury meeting that will be in the next couple of weeks or so.
Thanks to Adam, to David and Ben, and just a reminder, we're doing this in association with Timeform Horses to Follow 2022, available now £10.95 through Amazon. I was saying to David on the way down in the lift that I don't think the title does it justice. It's not just Horses to Follow yet. There's 50 of those from Britain. We've got Horses to Follow from Ireland. There's sections talking to the trainers, focus on the sires, rising stars, classic Antepost previews, reports on of all last season's key ratings, and much, much more. Thoroughly recommended. That's Timeform Horses to Follow, available now for £10.95 through Amazon.